on, ladies and gentlemen, to the other aspect, which could now become a talking point. 10 years of UPA versus 10 years of NDA, and Prime Minister Narendra Mody laying the bedrock for a white paper on this in the Rajya Sabha in his motion of thanks for the President's address. Listen in.
आज बातें तो बड़ी बड़ी की जा रही है। कांग्रेस के 10 साल का इतिहास देखिए। फ्रेजाइल 5 इकोनॉमी में दुनिया में कहा जाता था, मैं नहीं, दुनिया कहती फ्रेजाइल 5। पॉलिसी पैरालिसिस, ये तो उनकी पहचान बन गई थी। जिस कांग्रेस ने आतंकवाद और अलगाववाद को अपने हित में पनपने दिया, जिस कांग्रेस ने नॉर्थ ईस्ट को हिंसा, अलगाव और पिछड़ेपन में धकेल दिया, जिस कांग्रेस के राज में नक्सलवाद के लिए देश के लिए एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती बनाकर के छोड़ दिया, जिस कांग्रेस ने देश की बहुत बड़ी जमीन दुश्मनों के हवाले कर दी, कि आजादी के बाद से ही कंफ्यूज रही, उनको उद्योग जरूरी है कि खेती जरूरी है, उसी कंफ्यूजन में गुजारा किया।
Well, we've just got news coming, ladies and gentlemen. Top government sources telling News18 that the NDA government will actually bring in the white paper on economic mismanagement of the UPA into the Lok Sabha as early as tomorrow. Now, earlier, Parliament was pushed by one more day into Saturday, and there was, somewhere talk that this could all happen between the 9th and 10th of February, where we're given to understand that in the Lok Sabha, the discussion would start as early as the 8th of February, that's tomorrow. What all will the government, what is it likely to do when it brings in this white paper? Our reporters, sources, talking to sources within government and saying this is what they'll do. They'll compare the rule during the UPA and NDA on the economy aspect of it and the various markers, compare infrastructure and development in both these eras, and also show how lives of people have actually changed under 10 years of the Mody Sarkar NDA. Now, the NDA government has actually claimed that 10 glorious years were lost due to the UPA's mismanagement of the economy. This is their allegation. Every sector was compromised during the UPA rule. There was a fall in fiscal earnings during the UPA regime. Subsidies in the oil sector were hiked to about 35,000 crore. Planned expenditure and outlays to states was also reduced. Capex increased under the NDA that was falling under UPA, so NDA under Vajpayee era. So India was really shining, and a baton was passed on when India was on a slow gallop, but then it came to a literal halt in the 10 years of the UPA, and now it started running again in the last 10 years. This is the argument. Priyam Mody, author, is with us. So what if there was no Congress? That's the book that she has written. Syed Zafar Islam, national spokesperson of the BJP, with us, and Abbas, Haider, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, with us. Priyam Mody, this white paper. Namaste, Jai Hind and Jai Bharat to everybody. Thank you very much. Priyam Mody, this white paper that's coming in.
Namaste,
how much of it is fact and how much of it is going to be a lot of braggadocio?
So, namaste and good evening to everybody. So, I believe that all of it is going to be fact, and what is important to remember and also to notice is that in both the Prime Minister's speeches, in Rajya Sabha today and in Lok Sabha the day before yesterday, he mentioned Pandit Nehru's mistakes in handling various policies and various aspects of the country. Why now? One must ask this question. And the answer to that question is that Prime Minister Mody is perhaps the only man in the country who is not only deserving but capable, because he is about to break Panditji's record when he gets his third term just in a couple of months. So it is very opportune, it is very timely, and one must take what the Prime Minister is saying, even through the white paper that his government is saying, very, very seriously.
Abbas, Haider?
Yeah, so basically what I have seen the Prime Minister's address, it was full of allegation, whataboutery and contradiction. To be honest, see, Prime Minister was supposed to deliver what he has promised to the people of India in 2014. but he has delivered none of his promises. Modi ki guarantee is the biggest lie of the century. He has promised to give pakka makan to every citizen by the end of 2022. Was this delivered? What about fuel prices? The average, on an average, there has been decline of 70 to 80% in the crude oil prices, while the fuel prices in India has been increased to around 50-60%. And how it was promised that we are going to give fuel at 50 rupees or whatever. I mean, and look at the promises the Modi government has made: 2 crore jobs every year. We will give you 15 lakh in every bank account. So there have been so many promises, and now when the government has failed to deliver its promise, it is talking about the past government. I mean, we are sitting in the opposition, and we are going to ask you the question, sir, what is your delivery? But you are not ready to tell us about yourself. Instead, you're going to, put allegations on Pandit Nehru or Indira Gandhi or Jawaharlal, whosoever. I mean, does that matter? I mean, we as the people of India, we want our Prime Minister to tell us the truth, to tell us that the foreign debt of India has increased. It is like $629 billion right now. So basically, he needs to address this issue. They talk about GDP, that GDP of India has become number 5, but they'll never talk about per capita GDP, which is on the 120th place. You talk about USA, their per capita GDP is $82,000. You talk about Germany or China or maybe Russia, their GDP is 50,000, 70,000 US dollar. Where is our GDP? $2,300 per person. That is the per capita GDP. And you are talking about promises, but they also did not tell us that in 2011, India's GDP was at number 3 for a short span of time. So I think we don't need disparity in this country. We want resources of country to be divided among every citizen equally. So that should be done. And instead of doing so, the Prime Minister is he's boasting of what he has not delivered and what the previous government may have not delivered.
So only trying to gloss over what this government has not delivered, while for shining the spotlight on what the previous 10 years could not deliver upon. Syed Zafar of Salamdi, please respond.
See, why this concept of white paper, Anand, we need to understand. When we inherited the Indian economy in 2014 from UPA, it was in terrible shape. Everyone knows that during UPA 1, economy was doing well, but as we entered in UPA 2, economy started destabilizing the country. Why? There are many reasons. Of course, the people say that because of the economic crisis in 2008, after that, whatever decision has been taken by the government at that point in time was detrimental to the country's growth. It actually resulted in high inflation. Money supply was very high, and the way the loan was distributed based on phone call and based on understanding, based on certain commissions to be paid to 10 Janpath. Eventually, what happened that the balance sheet size of Nationalized Bank from 1947 to 2006 was merely 18 lakh crore, but from 2006 to 2013, in 6-7 years, it ballooned to 52 lakh crore. So what does it understand? What does it mean? That money was simply given to every person who approached bank through 10 Janpath or through some important offices of UPA minister. As a result, what happened that the loan which was sanctioned during these 6 years, if you compare this, and that is what I'm coming to the point. If you analyze it, you'll see that EBITDA, earning before interest, depreciation, taxes, actually was negative. When you have EBITDA negative of any project where you have which you have funded, means project will never take off. Eventually, what happened? This we inherited NPA after 2014 because all the loans were bogus loan, which was sanctioned 67% loan were bogus loan. They were not in a position. All those loans were not generating enough cash to service those debts. So we inherited huge NPAs. We had the option to come out with a white paper at that point in time and expose UPA government of their mismanagement of economy. But if we had done that, we would have actually damaged our country's economy forever. So the Honorable Prime Minister took a call at that point in time that it is best to repair the economy, repair the damage, take some important decisions like recapitalizing with the bank, doing some structural reforms, do many policy level decisions were taken, but and went through the pain, got criticism, but never addressed, only focused on addressing the problem which we had inherited. Eventually, now bank is in a very, very good shape. The banks were not in a position to lend because the capital adequacy ratio was not there. Today, the capital adequacy ratio is very good. Today, the bank is not only started lending, but they're in a very comfortable position to lend bigger projects. The credit evaluation process was put in place, which was not there, and there was no phone banking. So I think it is important for everyone to understand how we inherited or how we have transformed. What the Honorable Prime Minister was saying, that it was it was 5 fragile economy. India was part of that. And that time I was a banker, Anand. I used to travel across the world, and everybody used to tell me in 2012-13, so what is happening in India? There is a policy paralysis, which Honorable Prime Minister also referred. Secondly, every meeting I went, whether it's US, whether it's UK or elsewhere, the first question you people used to ask, how is the Indian economy is doing? Why there is a policy paralysis? Why there is a government which is known as a government of scams and scamsters? Because every day a new scam was being discussed in the parliament. So it's a party of fraud and fraudsters. These kind of statements I've heard from people who had invested or who wanted to invest in India. But the Honorable Prime Minister actually focused on repairing the damage done by the UPA government. And today we are in a very comfortable position. Not only
so you are saying that it was situation was so bad that you could not even talk about it openly because that would have made things worse. You have written.
Absolutely.
One minute.
Absolutely.
We'll look at some numbers, but Priyam Gandhi Mody, you've written a book saying, "What if there was no Congress?"
Yeah.
Does that traverse this aspect of economy?
Yes.
The 10 years of the UPA rule, 2004 to 2013-14. And do you agree with what Abbas Haider says? That
Yes, yes.
That the current system is only trying to gloss over and trying to show the spotlight elsewhere to deflect the criticism against it?
Not at all. Anandji, see, like the Prime Minister also said today, taking 25 crore people out of poverty is a very, very big deal.
Multidimensional poverty.
80 crore people, providing food grains to 80 crore people. Also, this is coming out of somewhere. All of the policies, see, there is a difference between announcing a policy and actually implementing a policy. Be it building the toilets, be it building houses, be it the Nal Se Jal scheme, be it any major, be it the healthcare schemes that the government is running. All of this not only starts but is also implemented at a very, very wide scale through the country, right? If you look at any credible global organization, they all say that the Indian economy is the bright spot in the global economic situation at this point in time, right? So they're coming from somewhere, it's coming from the numbers. In terms of not just the UPA era, but all of the, past Congress governments, especially Indira Ji's government, the inflation at her in the 70s was 34.5%. 34.5%. How can the Congress talk about inflation when their own numbers were this crazy, right? So it's not just that the Prime Minister or his government is glossing over or just attacking the opposition. They're doing so very rightly because they got the country out of a very, very fragile state. Look at what is happening in Congress-run Karnataka. They overpromised. They won the elections based on overpromises. Are they able to sustain those? They are not, because they don't know how to manage the economy. That's exactly how their governments have been run.
Some numbers, Abbas Ali Haider, before I come across to you for a counter to the BJP. Net direct tax collections have increased 160.52% from 6,38,596 crore in financial year 2013-2014 to 16,63,686 crore in financial year 2022-23. Now, this is one aspect. Provisional direct tax, mainly including income tax and corporate tax. Indian banks' bad debts or NPAs dropping to 3.2% in the first half of 23-24. It's the lowest since 2013, sir. Here are the numbers. March 2017 it was 9.6%, March 2019 9.3%, March 2021 7.4%, March 2023 3.9%, and September 2023 it is 3.2%. And this is the RBI's financial stability report saying much of the bad debt that had originated was between 2006 and 2008. So So what was ramped up and the economy was left bare. Now there are also other documents where during the interim budget in 2013-2014, a lot of the expenditure that was supposed to accrue was pushed to the next budget. Oil companies were not given their due, nearly 35,000 crore of it if my memory serves me right. We had the defense minister of the country come out and say, I don't have money to buy airplanes. And that's still on record. Yes, Abbas.
Anand, basically, see, I'm not here to defend the policies of UP or to justify them, but here the problem is, see,
because you were part of that. You were part of that scheme of things. Your own former, the late Mulayam Singh Yadav ji was once the defense minister of this country too. Ji.
No, but there was not Congress government that time, if you remember. We were never part of UP or any Congress government, one thing. Second thing, Anandji, let me tell you that the inflation in this country was at its peak during the second term of UPA. But when inflation was at its peak, it was supposed to come down. But was there deflation at any point of time in this country? In fact, the inflation has always increased by 6% maybe. If you call it 6%, is maybe nominal for you. And if you talk about wholesale price inflation, it has reached to in double digit. It has mostly remained in double digit. So basically, for example, if you are buying something for 10 rupees and the price increased to 20, then it is supposed to come down to 18 or maybe 17, 16. But it has always increased by 5%, 6%, 7% or even 8-9%. So this is what has happened in the Mody government. Second thing, see, all the PSUs and the strategic assets of the country have been sold to certain people. We accuse government of doing so, and by this they have led our country. They have basically tried to finish competition in the country. They have led to a monopoly structure in this country, which will certainly never lead any benefit to the country or the common man. Third thing, see, the oil revenue from the oil has been at the peak in the Mody government. But has the common man, has the person who has been at the bottom line got benefited out of it?
Abaji, I'm interrupting you, but here is some fact here. Interim budget of February 2014, and
let me respond to
this is P. Chidambaram ji. Payments to oil and fertilizer companies to the tune of 35,000 crore were pushed to the next year to artificially reduce the deficit. This played havoc with the cash flow of these companies, clearly impacting growth. So what was supposed to be paid by the previous governments was then subsequently paid and made good by the subsequent governments in the subsequent years. Abbas Ali Haider. So that's one aspect. Reduce the planned expenditure by 80,000 crore once again to manage deficit, and that means all kind of productive investment was put on hold. That was killed. Entire payments to infra and other companies was brought to a halt. Only 8,000 crore was spent in Jan-March 2014 as against the usual 85,000 crore rupees. So imagine only 10% of what was actually committed and what was budgeted was actually spent, just so that you could reduce the budget deficit and try and gloss over and window dress it. That's the biggest allegation against the UPA at that point in time. That was how bare our coffers were. Zafar Islam wants to add something more. Yes.
I think, Anand, in 2013-14, just see all the macroeconomic parameters. Everything will look terrible. You look at inflation number, you look at fiscal deficit number, you look at any other parameters, it is all in bad shape. So if anybody wants to defend the economy in 2013-14, I think he doesn't understand the economy well, or he just wants to make a statement to safeguard his own interests in the party. Everyone knows that the economy was in bad shape, and that's why we had focus. The Honorable Prime Minister had focus, and today the economy is in very good shape. Now he's talking about the revenue from oil.
Yeah.
I think you also have to understand that all the slogans which was given by Congress party like जल घर घर तक पानी पहुंचाएंगे और the घर घर तक बिजली पहुंचाएंगे, nothing had happened. The Indira Abbas Yojana was actually the failed project. Today, Prime Minister Abbas, under Prime Minister Abbas Yojana, we are providing house to people who don't have shelter. They are getting home.
And the target has been increased by another 2 crore
people
homes.
have been given home there. And another 2 crore for rural sector, that will also boost the rural economy. Then you have people, the women, they are getting stove, they are getting gas connection. The people who are living in villages, they are getting electricity connection. People are getting focused approach to provide tap water to every citizen, every household. So I think the focus is of the Prime Minister is that every household must have the basic amenities which every individual needs. But that was never the focus of any government in the past. It is only this government is making this kind of effort, and I think you must understand, despite inheriting the economy in such a terrible shape, today economy is in very good shape. As the author was talking about, that it is the bright spot. But every investor globally today, every investor globally is waiting. Was earlier waiting for the 2024 outcome, but now I went for a CLSA conference recently, and there people started speaking a very different tone. They said no, it is like that government will come back. And their comfort and confidence in this government and the leadership is exponentially high compared to what they had.
What I'm trying to say is that it has taken 9.5 years. It has taken 9.5 years, and still that confidence is still not fully manifest in Bharat. Is it going to be in the next 4-5 years to come? We'll have to wait and watch. Zafar Islamji. Yes, Priyam Gandhi Mody. I have to wind up. Yes, Priyamji. 30 seconds. Ji.
Yes. So, yes, thanks Anandji. So, Anandji, the reason why the BJP under Prime Minister Mody keeps, winning is also because look at how the intellectuals, look at it. Like there is Nalin Mehta who has studied these elections in detail, and he has realized that it's the, it's how the schemes reach the ground. It is how widely spread the schemes are, the implementation of the schemes that really is, what is adding value to the BJP and adding voters to the BJP at this point.
So the Labharti, it is manifest on ground.
It's
not just
actually, yes, the Labharti.
100 रुपए में से 100 रुपए पे से 10 पैसा नहीं, पूरा 100 रुपया पहुंच रहा है. That's the claim that the BJP makes, but there are others.
Yes.
Nalin Mehta is also managing editor Money Control, and he's written a thorough book on this after researching it, and that says that that is manifest on ground. Just quickly, as we say, thank you. Numbers that you can take back with you. Multi-dimensional poor, percentage of the Indian population who are multi-dimensional poor. Our research team has culled this number out as released by the Niti Aayog. 2005-2006, it was 55.34% in our country. 2013-14, it was 29.17% in our country. 2015-2016, it was 24.85%. 2019-2021, it was 14.96%. And 2022-23, it was 11.28%. This debate will continue because the white paper conversation will happen in Parliament on Thursday. But for the moment, have to wind up on that note. Thank you to all our panelists. We're taking a very, very short break. When we come back, an excerpt of the Prime Minister's address in the Rajya Sabha here on The Right Stand. Stay with us.